All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got Rafael Mercedes with us from Veteran Vans, and I'm going to turn it over to Mike. He's going to kind of get us going. But first, I just want to say thank you for joining us and giving us your time. I also want to say, since you're a veteran-owned company, thank you for your service. The majority of folks, I would argue, don't understand that it's really truly only 1% of our population that serves for this country. And so even if it's serving for just a short period of time, just thank you for your service. And as an active duty service member, and Mike as a veteran, we tend to kind of gravitate towards those that are trying to do big things that had a role in serving our country. So thank you for that, and thank you for your family's sacrifice as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, CJ.
Awesome, man. Well, hey, first off, welcome. I appreciate you taking the time. I know you got a lot going on and you're kind of doing a lot of things right now. So finding time to sit and chat with us is appreciated. So I kind of want to just jump into this. Why don't you tell everybody who you are, what you're doing right now, and kind of just give a little quick background about yourself.
All right. I'll give you guys the skinny. I'm once again Rafael Mercedes. Originally myself, I'm from South Florida of Hispanic descent. I joined in 2012, and plot twist, technically I'm still active duty until May. So a lot of people don't know that.
Terminal, you're on terminal.
Not even on terminal. I'm on a program called Skill Bridge where I get to go apprentice. So I've been doing Skill Bridge for about 3 months now. I've got 3 months left, and it's an amazing program that I'm also trying to get certified through. So getting Veteran Vans certified through so that I can also allow service members to come intern at my company for 6 months, their final 6 months of their active duty time, so they can figure out what they want to do. They have time to go to their VA appointments. They have time to relax and decompress and come back into the civilian sector and not have to worry about getting a paycheck. So I'm currently in that program now. I started Veteran Vans back possibly about a year now, a little bit over a year. And basically our mission is to enable others with the correct tools and knowledge to build the van of their dreams. And it's either they use some of our do-it-yourself videos and they do it themselves, and then they come to us for the harder things, or they come to us from the get-go and we build them their vans. But my number one priority is also to not just show you and sell you a van. I would like to show you, sell you a van, but also give you the tools to fix things down the road, because who knows, 2-3 years later, or maybe even 6 months down the road, something might happen and you're in the middle of nowhere. And I would rather basically teach you how to fish so that you can catch fish for the rest of your time owning a van, rather than, oh, I just bought a $100,000 van, I don't know how to fix anything on it. So for myself, once we get started full blow this summer, basically with every full build that we'll do, we'll also give you a toolbox with some simple tools that can get you through some easy troubleshooting. And if you have issues, you give us a call. We try to walk you through it. We try to help you out so that you actually can understand your van. At the same token, Veteran Vans, I want to 100% employ veterans. That's just the bottom line. I don't care if someone wants to say it's discrimination or not. I don't care if you've served. It doesn't matter if you served a shorter, because I know some branches do some technical 2-year contracts. It doesn't matter if you serve 2 or 20 or 30. If you have the skills, I want you to take those skills and come be a part of this team, and hopefully Fife. And
hey, real quick,
go ahead.
So real quick, can you kind of elaborate real quick? So number one, I think that's awesome. I think the hiring of veterans and retired, I think that's fantastic. Can you just kind of elaborate on what's driving you to that decision point?
Okay, so myself and my transition period, my transition period is I would say a pretty funny story. To start off with, I started my van builds. I purchased my van in August of 2019, and then I started building it. Then I finished it in February of 2020, and that's when I had started full-time living in my van. Now, at that same time in 2020, I'm doing workups. I'm getting ready to go on deployment. all this stuff. I'm like, van life is cool. It's awesome. Great way to save money. But, you know, I got to focus on the mission. And I know I've already made my decision that I'm going to transition out in May of 2021. So ended up, things fell through the cracks, didn't go on deployment. And then I was able to proactively get into a mentorship program for the SOF community, which is, I chose the Commit Foundation, and Reggie Mills helped me 1,000%. I would have to thank him for a lot of this, because he sent me a book called Designing Your Life. And then there's also Designing Your Work Life. He said, hey man, it sounds like you've got a transition plan, which at the time my plan was, I'm going to get out. I want to go to school for computer science. I wanted to be a programmer because that would allow me to work abroad from the van, which what I was thinking was, well, I'll be able to be in the van, be able to go adventure, work abroad. But once he sent me that book, and then things started to click, to me, it came to light that's not what I wanted to do. And at that point in time, I already knew the transition process was kind of rough for a lot of service members. Once you find out, or excuse me, once your chain of command finds out, I'm not going to stereotype, but a lot of the times they just cut you off. They're just like, well, you want to get out, see you later. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. And I really didn't like that. So that's why I used my tools by reaching out to the Commit Foundation and Reggie Mills to use the best tools in my toolbox as possible, because myself being a leader in the military, I want to succeed 1,000%. I don't want to get out and be homeless or go back home or make $10 an hour. That's not what I spent the last 8 years for.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and you hit it, right? And that's what I was trying to get out of you is I think a lot of people don't understand how stressful that transition process is. You know, I've been in for 19 and a half years, right? And I think as I've continued to kind of evaluate my career, it's like, okay, do I push to 30? And sometimes a part of that decision-making process is the stress that's involved with, oh my God, if I get out, what am I going to do? How am I going to find a job? You know, that transition period, because it's really rough on people. You can't, it's hard to translate what you've done in the military into the civilian sector, at least from us who wear the uniform, right? In that transition period, understanding that there are definitely employers out there that want that skill set and that leadership quality that we have as we do transition, but it's still daunting and it's not as easy as people think. So no, I just wanted to touch on that, man. I really appreciate your insight and for sharing that. Yeah,
of course, no problem.
That whole exit plan for a veteran it's not emphasized enough. And they can hand you your pamphlets when you're getting out, and, you know, you go through your exit processing and you go to your little mandatory classes and sign off that you got counseled on something. But the reality is most young veterans who are getting out, they think they have a plan until that last paycheck hits, and they're just another application in a stack of other applications with other people. And they realize, oh, I'm not special anymore. Like I'm just another face in the crowd. And so having that true exit plan, if you're a young veteran and you're looking at your 1 year out, 2 years out, 3 years out, or you've got an exit plan in your head, at least date wise, I would definitely suggest ironing out some real steps you're going to take, making contacts before you ever get out of the service. Because like you said, once you're out, if you don't have something set up, that transition can be very tough. You can find yourself working $10 an hour jobs, not being able to pay your rent, going from someone who had everything figured out to now you can't even get your rent paid, you know? And so I think a lot of guys find themselves surprised by that. So if you're thinking about getting out there, definitely start putting pieces in place now before it's too late. You don't want to look back and think, dang, I wish I had another 6 months in there where I could have set this up properly. So you're doing this the right way. Hats off to you. You're making some wise decisions.
So right now you live in your van full time, right?
Yes, sir.
Nice. Okay. So why did you choose this lifestyle specifically?
So specifically, let's see, the time was 2019 summer. Working up for the deployment coming in 2020, working long hours. At the time, I mean, E6 over 6. I'm making good amount of money. I own my house in SoCal. So at that time I still do. I support my mom, so I send money back home. So with all of that, I was, and also I very outdoorsy. I would always take my Jeep, go places, and I ran into the number one issue of lodging every single time of, well, okay, well, where are we going to stay? Can we find a campsite? Well, campsites are booking up 3 months prior hand. Okay, well, if we have to stay at a hotel motel, well, is there occupancy? How much is it? So every time running into that issue, the money wasn't the biggest issue because I could pay for it, but then in my head, it started clicking where, well, I could be saving more money, and then 2, I could spend that money doing the things I enjoy. So there's that. So I had this nice house, and it's just me. I'm single, so I'm like, I really don't need this. This isn't what I need. And my first deployment in 2013, being on a ship with a coffin rack and having the square footage of like 20 and just to store all my stuff, and basically living out of a Stanley case, always going on TDY trips, doing stuff. It just didn't make sense to me personally. So it came down to less is more, basically. So ended up renovating my house and getting it ready to sell at the same time that I was building my van. So I took advantage of my garage and built my van, and then matched up the 2 timelines, and then sold about 90% of my items, sold the house, and then boom, in the van, have a great nest egg ready to soon get out of the service. And then I have 0 debt. I own my van straight up, and I have this nest egg and investments and all that type of stuff. So it basically came down to enabling my adventures, basically what I like to do. And that could be anything across the board. It doesn't have to be the typical stuff of, well, hiking, backpacking, cycling, surfing, even though those are even today, snowboarding. I was snowboarding, basically ski in, ski out from the van in Aspen. But it could be anything, as if you have a mobile seamstress business, or a mobile food delivery, or even food trucks, or it could be whatever you want. You can deck this space out to basically enable you for whatever it is. And that's a concept that I fell upon, and I just decided to do it. That was the hardest part, was pulling the trigger and saying, I'm going to do it. And it was the stars just falling into place. I went to dealership. They didn't want to give me what I wanted for my Jeep to trade in. And then I went on base one day. I was just at the Next, and then there's a used car lot, and there was this van there, and it was just, everything fell into place. I was like, this is the van I've been looking for. I'll pay this man whatever he wants for it. I'm going to gut it out and do what I want in it, so it's fine. So
yeah,
some O kind of got the better leg on me and sold it to me for a little bit more than what it should have been sold for. But I'm happy I have it, and it's a blessing. But that was the hardest part, was getting into it for what I wanted. And I will honestly, I wish I would have had a van the day I joined in 2012. I would have wished I was in a van since then. So
that's dope, man. I when Mike first told me about you, I jumped on your Instagram right away and started looking, and just all your adventures, man. Even your little winter road trip where you freaking, I was like, man, what the hell, man? I wish I could live this lifestyle. So in your van, right, in your build, what's the one thing that you couldn't live without?
Okay. I'm going to have to say, since I'm in Colorado, the one thing would be the heater. The heater is super important to have. When I was back in SoCal, I did not need my heater at all. But if you're going to stay, even if you do live in a warm area, if you're going up to go ski or to go board and you're going to stay there, it would make sense to have a heater. So right now, the number one crucial thing is having a heater, or else your water lines freeze and you freeze because it's cold as shit. So I can sleep in here if the heater's on and it's doing its thing. I can sleep if I wanted to in some silkies and just.
Yeah, you got the Propex, right? You got the Propex.
Exactly, which if anyone is listening to this and you guys are building a van, do not do the Propex. I will tell you that from firsthand experience. Do not do it. There's a lot
Come
of
on, man. I got the Propex heater in my teardrop I'm sitting in right now. What the heck, bro? You can't be telling me that.
The Propex heater for a lot of folks, because, and the main reason is because they make diesel heaters that tap into your diesel tank or your gas tank. And that is the easiest thing to do. For me, for example, I have a 6.8 gallon propane tank mounted to the bottom of the van. So when I need it filled, which is if I use my heater every night, about every 6 to 7 days, you have to go to a special place to get it filled. Yeah. So if you're in the woods, you're not going to find a special place to get it filled. If it runs out on you, then you're screwed and you're freezing. Now, if you have a diesel heater or gas heater, you just go to the gas station, fill up your regular tank, and that's it. So yeah, I'm not going to plug the diesel and the gas heaters, but from firsthand experience, which is what I love about, I'm coming up on a year now, I think next week or the week after that, a year of full van life. These are my experiences, and that's what I try to convey to people. There are a lot of people out there that secretly, the secret's out, but that they don't live in vans, or they've never lived in vans, and they build vans and they portray that they do, but they really don't. So this is firsthand experience from, I have PTSD from this van. So let's just like it is. If I hear some dripping noise anywhere, it doesn't matter where I'm at, I will freak out because I just have these flashbacks of this van.
That is awesome, dude. No, and I think you bring up a good point, man. Because of this niche, right? Where over the last 3-4 years, where it's become a huge movement. Oh, van life, or bus life. You got these people that are just cranking these builds out, and they don't truly understand what it's like to live out of it. And so I think your perspective and your willingness to share, like, hey, I live out of my van, and I build them, and I'm going to tell you. But yeah, no, that's great, man. So
I think that's a huge determining factor for picking a contractor or a company or somebody to do some work on your van, because I was recently listening to a podcast where a guy was being interviewed who previously owned a limousine company where they would build out limousines. Well, when the van life movement took over, his little money light bulb went off, and he's like, forget limousines, I'm gonna start building vans. And so that's cool. He's making a ton of money. However, if you're not living in this and you're not doing this and recreating in it and spending all your time in your van, sure, you can sell them whatever cabinetry you want to and whatever systems you want to and have your techs install it for them. But having somebody do that work for you who's truly living that lifestyle and understands, here's the pitfalls, here's the things that can go wrong. Hey, here's what happened to me when I had a below freezing night. Here's what you can learn from it. Versus a company that will just they'll sell you a heater, and then when something goes wrong, they'll charge you for hourly rates to fix it. But they don't have any idea of what's going on as far as the actual living and recreating in your van.
Yep. That perspective is 1,000% true. And I've seen firsthand that the processes to build a van can be very not menial or easy. It's just after a certain amount of time, whatever company you're working for or whatever it is, it's just learning the OJT. It's just basically going to a school or class and learning how to do it. And it's just, building simple things. It's not construction or anything that deep. A lot of the things are just behind the curtain of, oh snap, that's how you do that? Like, that's crazy. And then they slap $100,000 on it, and then it sells on Instagram, which is amazing. And I would never step on anyone's toes for trying to put food on the table for their kids and their family, 100%. But it's different. And to me, what I've seen with a lot of people that portray that, but they're not really living it, is it's the difference between active duty and reservists. Sometimes it's you come here, sometimes, and I'm here all the time. And that's not to, shit on reservists. I've had some amazing reservists come out with us, and I'm like, I want you to stay. Like, can you stay? Like, please. And then I've had some grown men that at the time, I mean, I'm only 27 now, but I'm telling you how to wipe your ass, and you've been doing this, you've been in the reserves for 15, 16 years. Like, get it together. So that's the comparison I've seen in the van life industry, where some people, they just fake it till they make it. They post what they post, and they post some nice cute stuff of a girl in a bikini in a van, but nobody posts the real gritty shit. And that's, I don't have an issue, and I won't step on your toes, but that's not going to be me. I show when, oh, all my shit falls out the cabinet because I didn't do something, or how this set of cabinets here, that was my first set of cabinets, and these are my second set, but the first ones were atrocious, and I just keep it there just because I haven't had the time to build a new one, but it works. And in the military, when they tell you, hey, I need this fucking airplane to fly today, you're like, well, I gotta do, if I have to go to Home Depot, then I have to do what I have to do to get this plane to work. And a lot of people don't understand that. And they just, think everyone has a huge shop and so much time to build a van. And like, it's just a walk in the park. And you're going to build a van with a screwdriver and 12 screws. Like, no. Let's back it up. You're going to have hard days. You're going to have shitty days. You're going to fuck up. You're going to mess this up. You're going to waste money on stupid mistakes. But that is actual living this life. And that's why I love doing what I love doing. And I've learned the hard way, especially in the military, that you're only going to get better at doing something with experience. You have to fall. You have to fall dozens of times over and over again. And maybe you'll succeed. But to me, at the end of the day, all I want for veteran vans is I want to employ vets that love doing this, and I want to pay them a wage that they can support their family for the rest of their lives as long as we're in business. It doesn't matter how much money I take home, like, as long as my techs are getting paid what they deserve and they love coming to work, that's all I care about. I don't care about anything else.
It's all about the journey, man. I like it.
Yep.
That's very cool. Hey, what brought you from California to Colorado? Why'd you decide to make that move?
So once I figured out I want to build vans, so I had to switch the mindset from I want to go to Stanford and be a programmer and do computer science to actually my last 8 years in the Navy, working on drones and working on jets actually translates to electrical work, building vans. And then I started realizing that I've had a lot of experience working with hand tools and things of that sort compared to a lot of other people. I'm like, okay, I can build vans. So once the SkillBridge program popped up, I realized, okay, who do I want to go intern for? So I did some research. I found the 5 biggest in the nation, the 5 biggest well-known builders. And I sent my resume to all of them. I sent them pictures of the van. I sent them my qualifications in the military, stuff like that. And eventually they all said yes. And I was amazed. I was like, there's no way that they're all saying yes. I don't have a crazy Instagram following. Like, I'm not one of these builders that are out there always doing stuff. I'm just getting out of the military, and this is what I like doing. So they all said yes. So then I had my pick of the litter between 2 in Denver, 1 in Idaho, 1 in Montana, and 1 in Santa Barbara, California. And then I ended up choosing Denver just because it's a metropolitan area, and then it's close to boarding. So last January, I actually started getting serious into snowboarding and started taking it, putting my effort into it, studying up on it. And this was the great place for it. And also the owner of this van company is a vet too. So that is really what drew me in, was, okay, we understand each other. And even here, working with the guys here, the owner's a vet, and the supervisor, he's also a vet too. So we kind of can understand more because we have that connection compared to some of the other guys here. There's a disconnect in the camaraderie of just like shit talking and
when you show up to a new job and you start putting out dick jokes, they better be around veterans, because most people are going to be like, oh, what is this dude doing?
Exactly. And you can completely relate to that. And it's coming here to me. I mean, I'm still getting paid by the Navy, and you know, I'm comfortable and I know the type of atmosphere I like to work at. But speaking to some of the civilian counterparts, not that they're fearful of losing their job, but to me, it's like I don't have anything to necessarily, not that I don't have anything to lose, but I've been through hell and back. So to me, this is like great. This is amazing.
Your competition, man. Your competition for them, right?
Yeah, but at the same time, I'm just enjoying myself, and they're just like, oh man, like we don't want the boss to come and see us like talking when we're not on break. And I'm like, and to me, I'm like, I don't give a fuck about the boss. Bring the boss to me. We will talk shit. Like I've done this in the Navy. I've been the boss. I've been the subordinate, the worker. Like I've been all that. So I'm just like, dude, this is a great atmosphere. I really have the best opportunity that I could have in life. And I honestly wish if there are senior leaders watching this, that they all try to push their service members to do SkillBridge. Like, to me, it should be mandatory. I get it if someone signs a 4-year contract and then they spend 6 months of that interning somewhere else. But this has been such a blessing, and this has enabled me to grow my business and actually get it in my head of understanding and of believing in myself. Because if I would have been dumped out into this world and a month ago I would have came off a deployment, I would not be succeeding how I feel like I will be now. So that's hopefully what I can do in Southern California is take these sailors that want to decompress, that want to experience van life and want to experience being a builder, and hopefully, you know, they have their own van down the road. But if you're in the military and you're interested in van life, you're interested in building, working with hand tools, wrenches, fabrication, electrical, I want your skills. I want them to come and say, hey, I'll come intern here. And it's, to me, honestly, it's not a bad gig. I love a positive atmosphere. If it's Wednesday and, you know, we're in SoCal and there's a swell coming in at noon, dude, go surf for 2 hours. I'm not tripping about that. I understand you're coming off of active duty. You've put your life on the line out there, and I thank you for your service and your work. I want you to come out here, put in some honest work, but I also want you to take care of yourself first. The work is always going to be there, and someone else will do the work if it needs to be. But number one is mental health, and then your family, taking care of you. That's what comes first. So work, exactly how we spoke about earlier, the cogs, once you leave, once you transfer to your next command, that's it. The machine still rolls over and over with or without you. So
yeah, that's an important point people need to remember, that, and that doesn't just carry from the military. You can be in any career field and think, like CJ said, you get a bit of a big head when you're the go-to guy. You're like, oh, this place ain't going to run straight if I'm not here. The reality is all these businesses they have a mission, and whether that's profit or whether that's national security, at the end of the day, they're going to keep moving forward, and you have to take care of yourself. You have to put things in place that are going to take care of you and your family. And thinking that a certain company, business, or position is going to provide any fulfillment as far as that bigger picture, it's just not. Those are machines that keep moving regardless. So work on yourself, get yourself right, put things in place that are going to be there for you. And I think that'll be, you know, some sound advice for young guys thinking about getting out.
Oh yeah,
I got $1 million question for you, man, that I'm sure maybe our viewers want to know, or listeners. Where do you park your van?
Are you stealth or what? What's going on?
You live out at full time. Like, I mean, you know.
Oh man. Where do I park my van? All right. So I have one of the shorter vans. A lot of people, they want to put everything in their van. They want to put a bowling alley. They want to put a jacuzzi. They just really, and then they get a large van, which is fine. But my whole ideal was, I want it as short as possible so that I can still navigate and have a great turn radius in cities and park between vehicles. So I park anywhere. If there's an open space, I'm going to park there. Now, there are common courtesies that you learn throughout van life. I've never gotten a knock. No cops.
That was my next question.
Yep. No one has ever knocked. Well, I'll tell you actually one story, but let me finish. So I park anywhere, but I won't park in front of someone's home. I won't do that. I'll park around the corner where like their side yard is maybe, and I'll drive around for a while to try to find something that's low key with like a fence, so they don't have to look at my van or anything like that. I try to be courteous, because if thinking about it as a homeowner, or as a previous homeowner, I wouldn't want someone camping out in front of my house for 2-3 days, whatever it is. So parking, super easy for me. I just find something nice and quiet, not on a main busy road, because you have, like right now, you have cars by all night, and that's no fun. You want to have some good sleep. So you find a little nook somewhere kind of in a residential area and just park. Now, the only time I've gotten a knock was on base in San Diego.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And I've parked on base plenty of times, but like the parking lot wasn't full. So this rent-a-cop, it wasn't an actual MP. It was one of the civilian cops.
DOD civilians, yeah.
Yep. Came over, started banging on it. He was telling me to get out of the van. And me, I don't have a very good experience with cops. So I'm like, I just rolled the window down. I was like, I'm not getting out of this vehicle, like, unless you pull me out. There's no reason. And he started questioning me, asking me like if I was drunk. Now, at the time, our base was located on the beach in San Diego. So it was really, I surfed until sunset, and then I was going to come surf in the morning. So my logic was, why would I go somewhere else? I'm just going to stay here. So that's the only time I've gotten a knock. A lot of people really don't get knocks, but you can't have your lights on. You got to have light discipline. Like I have light covers on all the windows, so no light escapes. You need to have your dimmers on. You can't be in here listening to watching movies without headphones. Like you have to understand the situation you're in. This isn't a home, and a lot of people think coming into van life, oh, this is just like my home. No, you need to adjust to this. Be courteous of the people around you. And in a lot of states, this is illegal to habitate on a public street. So when you go rent a van in San Diego or something like that, people just like, oh, we're just going to park in front of this $12 million house and just like have a good time. And it's like, that's not what's going to happen. You're going to get the cops called on you, and you're going to get kicked out, and you're going to be surprised because you don't know that you can't do this. So yeah, pretty much no knocks.
So you telling me Instagram is not real life?
It's not real.
Oh my God.
Crazy. All those people that follow you aren't really your friends.
No, they're not. They're a bunch of creepos. And listen, man, if you're ever down in the Colorado Springs area and you need a place to spot up, just hit me up on Instagram ahead of time, and you can always park your rig in the neighborhood right by our house.
Well, CJ, don't go doing what you did last time and putting your gun in your pocket and checking out the van you don't recognize in your neighborhood.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So that happened one time, and it was a milk delivery truck at 2:30 in the morning when we've had break-ins in our neighborhood. So yes,
maybe they needed some milk, man.
I did pack some heat. I walked outside to check and see what was going on.
Oh,
it was pretty sketchy. And here's the worst part. We actually have two people in our neighborhood that get milk delivered at 2:30 in the morning. And I was thinking it was like some cargo van coming in and snatching things out of people's cars, and they got a little logistics.
CJ went DOD cop on you, man.
Yeah. But I didn't approach. Because they left the neighborhood. So
and the milkman was just making a late night delivery.
He was too, man. I was like, what the hell, man? Who gets milk delivered at freaking 2:30 in the morning?
Oh man.
So there's a lot of prospective buyers out there right now. The van life movement is in full swing. There's no signs of it slowing down. Every survey I've seen for 2020 going into 2021, everyone plans on camping more, getting out there more. Like it's just really kind of moved up a level. A lot of people on the fence about what to get, what they should do, how their build should go. So if you were to give advice to a prospective buyer out there, is there a type or brand of van that is easier to work on and build up versus the other, or are they all pretty much a blank canvas that anybody can just work with?
All right. So age-old question, which I've pondered and I've researched when I first started. So you have the big three. In today's new era, you have the big three, which is the Sprinter, the Transit, and the ProMaster. The Sprinter made by Mercedes now, which was also made by Freightliner and Dodge. For prior years, they just rebadged it, but it's the same thing. Then you have the Ford Transit, and then you also have the
Hopefully this
Dodge
dude shows
ProMaster.
up soon.
So they all have their differences in, like, some walls are more concave than others. Some are more vertical. You also have engine and motor specs. You also have price of parts, reliability. So you have things across the board that just, the list goes on. To start with, I would always prefer a diesel over a gas, just because reliability of the motors. And the king of diesel is the Sprinter currently. The Transit also has a diesel, so I wouldn't put it too far past, but the diesel motors last up to 500,000 and also to 1,000,000 miles. So if you want longevity out of your build and also for it to hold its worth, I would get a diesel. Now the inner workings, you have different wheelbases, different size, really small little features. Not a big deal. For a couple grand, you can sway me to move this way for that way. It depends on really what you can find on the market. Now, if you're looking on the market at certain vans, they're going to be higher in certain areas, just like the housing market. So if you're in San Diego or SoCal, vans are going to be more expensive than Kansas. That's just what it is. And then also with coastal cities and also cities that snow a lot, you need to look out for rust in the undercarriage. So that's a really big thing to look out for. To always get your van checked by a mechanic. If you're not one, if you don't know what you're looking at, get it checked by an unbiased mechanic, not the seller's mechanic, but a third-party mechanic. So yeah, really just a diesel is out the gate the best. We've worked on a lot of Sprinters, some Transits and ProMasters, and my favorite is a Sprinter. The walls are concave. The ProMaster has a more up and down wall, but to me, it's for a diesel Sprinter, it's going to blow a ProMaster out the water, especially because ProMaster motors are made by Fiat, which also made Ferrari motors, but they don't make Ferrari handmade motors for ProMasters. So
you mean you're not getting the same quality and care from Ferrari that you're getting with the ProMaster?
Each motor isn't handmade by one tech. So, but the biggest hurdle that a lot of people hit is analysis paralysis. They start analyzing and they want to be perfect, so damn perfect. And Instagram and Pinterest and all this shit fills up your brain, and you just want it to be the most absolute one and done perfect thing ever. And that's never going to happen. You've never done anything super absolutely perfect. There are no absolutes in this life at all. So it really comes down to what can you afford, what can you get, what's feasible, and then literally just doing it, because spending a year, 2-3 years planning every single nut and bolt and then planning X, Y, and Z, that time you could have got a van already and done the things you love doing already. So, there's small things. Once I finished this build, I immediately started writing down things that I wanted to change, and that's okay, because this summer I'm going to gut the whole van and redo it, and that's fine. And you can always do that. But people, they just want to be so perfect on the first shot. They see Instagram, they see these time lapses of a van being built in 6 weeks, and you really just need to put that shit to the side and understand that it's you. Those people don't build your van. Those people don't control your lives. You do. So in my perspective, I was paying about $3,000 every month for my mortgage and my utilities. So that was a pressure. Hey, the longer I take, the more I try to finish all these little trim pieces and waste all this time doing all this stupid stuff. That's money that's just leaving my bank account. So I did the basics. I did what was comfortable for me, built it, and still having no experience with woodworking, I still get people saying, oh my God, it's a beautiful build, amazing, which was made mostly from Home Depot. But I'd rather be doing than constantly planning over and over and over again. It's not going to be perfect. Just get that out of your mind. Get whatever van you can get your hands on, and just do the damn thing. That's it.
Well, and that goes right back to career moves, just pulling the trigger. At the end of the day, you can do analysis paralysis. My wife and I did it. We bought a ProMaster and we went through the whole thing. We were like, okay, should we do Sprinter? Should we do a Transit? well, what wheelbase do we want? And well, should we get one that was previously a passenger van and got the seats, or should we get just straight cargo? At the end of the day, at some point we just said, fuck it. We pulled the trigger, we got one, and we just got started. And you know what? We're making progress because we could still be sitting here right now looking for the perfect van. It's not out there. And if you're ready to hit the road and you really want to get started in this, it's just time to kind of pull the trigger on something and make a decision. That's the only way you're going to move forward, is just making a decision.
Yep. And I've ran into that a lot in the military. People, they can't make a decision, or you're always turning back. Like, once I make a decision, that's it. I don't care if it ends up horrible. There's no way I could have known that. I chose what I chose, and I did it, and I stuck with it, and we're pushing forward. You have to keep rucking forward with your gear. There's not, I need to plan, which I 1000% condone planning. You should plan, because piss poor planning leads to piss poor performance. So you need to take 5 minutes to plan. Great. This is what I need. This is what I like. This is what I don't like. But you'll start realizing, okay, I'm getting way too deep, or you're planning too far ahead. You're looking at the 30-meter target instead of your 5 meter and your 10. You're way too out there. So pull the trigger, figure out what you want, and then start walking. Because once you bought the van and it's in your driveway, it's like, okay, now we're going. Now we're gonna get cooking. We're gonna start order some parts, and we're gonna start doing. And then within the year, or maybe 6 months, whenever you have the time, you get your van done, and then you can go out and actually enjoy and live your life instead of watching veteran vans on Instagram and living through vicariously. I want you to be in a van, either if you build it yourself or we build it. That's what I want you to get out there and enjoy your life. We being service members, we run into being deployed, being TDY, we're always on watch, always have to do things. I'm just getting so tired of that, of where that's your whole identity of being in the service. Like, you are someone unique. You like to go ski, you like to go bowl, you like to go make chili. I don't care what it is, but you're different, and I want to enable that so that you can go out there and do it. And on when you're off your duty days, when you're off deployment, you can take that uniform off and just be home with your family, or be out on the trail, be out doing whatever it is, and leave that behind for just a little bit. You know, we understand we got to go back and serve. We know that. But I want you to be enabled to go do whatever it is with your family in a van. Even if you're overlanding, I don't care. I'll put a solar system in your overland. Give me your RAV4. I'll put whatever you want on the RAV4. I just want you to get out there and actually live your life instead of worrying and planning and all this other jazz. So
yeah, I think that carries to so many areas. Like you said, van building or putting a solar panel on your RAV4. It doesn't matter. Like, at the end of the day, we get caught up in titles. We get caught up in image. We get caught up in what others will think of what we're doing. And the reality is, you need to tune all that out and just go do what you want to do. Get out there on the road, go out there and see things, get some experiences, and stop sitting at home looking at your phone, thinking about how you could make things perfect to look like what you see on your device.
Exactly.
All right. So what would be the biggest misconception you think new van owners have about the build process? What is the one thing that people are often surprised about?
The one thing that people are often surprised about, it's honestly, I would say how easy it is. People that have never driven a screw in or turned a wrench or cut something, they get so scared because they don't know. They've never done it. They don't have the experience, which I get it. But once you start doing it, you get used to it. And the one of the greatest things is people, they'll post their like first cut. So the first hole that they put in the van, and they're just like nervous and
terrifying.
Get terrified.
Yeah.
And I'm like, move the fuck over, dude. I'll cut this bitch right now. Like, I don't got time to waste. Like, you shaking over this, like, because at the end of the day, if you mess it up, someone else can fix it, or you can fix it. Like, put a plastic bag over that thing until you figure the shit out. But you need to do it. And I've learned that is the difference between having the confidence to do something is literally experience. So if you hype yourself up in your head, you think about it, okay, I did enough planning, I just need to do it. So when people actually start doing it, they start realizing, oh, this is easy. Like, you know, and after so many reps, and it might not be easy, but for, let's say it's the same thing for an NBA player or a soccer player or your first time out shooting. The first few times you do something, you're nervous, you're, you know, shaking here and there, you don't know what to do, but you gain that experience. You just have to do it over and over. So if you don't want to practice on your van, practice on random pieces of wood, random pieces of metal, or help someone else building their van. Just be like, hey, I just want to come and watch, or, you know, something like that, or watch a bunch of videos, gain that confidence, go do it. Because if you don't, bring it to me, I'll come do it. So they're just shocked how easy it is. Like, yeah, there's some parts that are hard, but if you want to make a basic van that you can live out of, or go board out of, or go do whatever it is, like, put a floor down, put some walls, put a ceiling, put some electrical stuff, boom, you got it. Go do whatever you want. You can finish the little trim stuff. Like just a few weeks ago, I'm still finishing stuff in my van that I've just didn't care for, just pushing it to the side because I have other things to do, and that's okay. You're gonna have imperfections.
As long as it's livable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But people want the absolute perfect thing. And you speak to most van lifers that actually live in their vans. Your perfect van is until your second, third, or fourth van. Honestly, and that doesn't mean you need to sell the van, or you might just gut it, like how I'm going to do this summer. You might just gut the whole thing and then restart. So that's probably what I've noticed most, is people just have to gain that experience, take that first step. Once you take that first step and you realize this is my van and I can do whatever the hell I want, I don't have to live up to these standards that are out on social media. I'm not going to get 500,000 likes. This is for me. Once you realize it's for me, not for everyone else, that's when all that fear kind of sheds off. And then you see people out here just putting in the work, putting in the real honest work every day, busting their knuckles, doing it. That's what I love to see.
Yeah, I think in society, right, we've cultivated a society that wants it perfect the first time. And the reality is, you know, even those people that are shelling out 150 plus on these, what are they? The Revel sprinters, right? And even then, the people that are building those aren't people that are living out of them full time, and they're going to have to. I mean, it's just like me. I went and spent quite a bit of money on this off-grid teardrop camper for my family, and I was on a build wait list for 8 months, and in that 8 months, man, I was watching YouTube videos. I was looking at other teardrop campers, just trying to get a feel for everything that I was trying to plan for and understand how we were going to live out of this thing when we would go out and do, you know, our overnighters or our multiple nights camping. But the reality is until I owned it, until I physically had it in my possession and we put it to use, I'm like, man, I shouldn't have bought this. I should have actually went with this instead. Or, you know, you start looking at these things where I thought I had it all figured out until I actually physically started camping in it. And I'm like, man, I'm a fucking idiot. Why did I spend so much money on this said piece of equipment? Right. But, you know, you live and you learn, man. And that's part of the journey. And so I'm always constantly hitting Mike up and I'm like, dude, I want to do this to the camper, or I want to do this to the camper. But, you know, live and learn. Sorry, and I'm sorry that my camera. This weirdo was supposed to come and from Facebook Marketplace. I'm trying to get rid of this shelving unit, and he was supposed to come, and so my wife was getting all pissed off as she was sitting there waiting for him to show up, and he never showed up. So I had to go keep looking, but
we'll round it out with a couple last minute questions. But I want to get one out there. I got my little cheat sheet here.
First of all, what beer are you drinking?
This is a doggy style pale ale. So
okay.
Trying it out. You know, I'm trying to go from basically the PBR barracks lifestyle from a few years ago to, like, oh, I make a okay amount of money. I can not drink,
You're
piss.
stepping it up from Natty Ice for once. And
Crazy, I know.
So for the people out there listening who are prospective buyers or thinking about building on their van, what would be the services that Veteran Vans offers to those potential customers out there?
All right. So starting this summer, Veteran Vans will start doing full builds. So you can either have your van shipped to the shop, you can drive it down, you can, I don't care, send it on a train. As long as it shows up at our doorstep, we'll do a full build on it and obviously go through consultations, design, all that stuff, and tell you the truth of what's feasible, what makes sense, or that's a dumb idea. You should not put a jacuzzi on top of your van. That doesn't make sense.
But I saw it on Instagram. It's doable.
But I saw it on Instagram. So we'll be doing full builds. Right now, what I do a lot of are online electrical consultations. So I basically design your whole system. I create a personalized schematic for you that's easy to read, not an engineering schematic that really only electrical engineers and techs would be able to understand. So this is easy for average person to understand and read, so that if you need to troubleshoot your system, you can go ahead, take a look at it and see, oh, this is my actual products that Rafael from Veteran Vans, told me to buy and install, and I installed it, whatever it is. So we do electrical designs, online consultations for whatever it is that you need. If it's cabinets or layouts, or you want just the actual experience from someone that has done this full time, then I'll tell you, like I was telling CJ about the Propex. Don't do the Propex. I will tell you that without charging you for consultation. Don't do the Propex. It is not the best idea for a van. Now for your teardrop, that's a different story. So this summer, full builds, do online consultations. And that also ranges from not just building your van, but also suspension work, stuff like that. So partnering with really good brands like Agile Off-Road down in SoCal and stuff like that. So, if you want a 2-inch lift or something like that, like facilitate that. If you need X, Y, and Z done, if I've learned in the military, if I can't do it or I don't know the answer, I will find the answer and I will find someone to do it, because you've given me that task and it's my mission to accomplish that for you. So,
you going full builds this summer, you're going to be one of the only companies nationwide that doesn't have an 18-month lead time too. So you can actually start bringing people in.
Exactly.
This summer, right?
Exactly. So
That's huge.
This summer, the first build is going to be this build. I'm going to gut it. And I have an apprentice lined up too that's going to shadow and help out. And hopefully I get a couple more veterans that also want to come apprentice. And this would be great to come practice on, because I don't care if you mess it up. Like it's the company van. I'm not worried about it. So we're going to do this first. We're going to work out all the logistics kinks, all the suppliers, all the distributors, all that stuff. And then when we get started with customer builds, it's going to be the best time to get a cheap price on the customer builds is the first one. So
Yep.
first couple builds might be 40 grand, including parts and everything in there. So if there's a prospective buyer, come, and you don't care about having this crazy elaborate golden toilet build, come on down to Veteran Vans. We'll build you a quick van, in maybe 10, 12 weeks, 40 grand, get you out the door so you can go out, snowboard, surf, do whatever it is out there.
Very cool.
Nice. Yeah, that's really cool. Now,
Okay.
with real quick, as you talk, kind of like the suppliers that you're going to be working with, what are some of those companies? Have you already started kind of creating those relationships with some of those main companies out there, like Illuminous or Alvans or?
So Illuminous does follow me, and they have commented on my stuff. I I'm not going to say too much. I love their products. They're expensive.
Dude, they're expensive. I was just waiting for you to say it, man. They're expensive.
When you said they reached out or they followed me, I was like, well, I'm going to shut up then, because the first thing was they cost too much.
Yeah. They're expensive, and I'm never going to sugarcoat some shit just because I want to keep relations with the company. The company knows that they're expensive products, but they're good products. They are welded. They're powder coated. They're all these things. Can you do it yourself for not exactly the same, but get the same result and get it done for a lot cheaper? Yes, you can. But if you want something that's easy, bolt on, and it's not going to rust, go get an Aluminous product. And
yeah, for sure.
I love that they're in San Diego, so I will be establishing that relationship with them. And to me, networking is really important, especially if you're getting out, or even if you're in. I've heard crazy stories of, well, I know this E9 detailer that can get you orders to Hawaii, and next week, boom, X service member has this hookup. So to me, connections are very important. So everyone that I want to build these networks with, if they're either exclusive contracts or something like that, I either want to try my best to go and meet them in person and to actually be personable with them so that they can see, hey, I'm not some person that just jumped into this community to make money. Like, I'm here to sell your products, put them on our vans. If they're good, if they're not, and they start to get shitty, I'm going to tell you that. I'm going to tell you straight to your face, and not malicious, but as some constructive criticism. So
yeah,
I think that's super important. CJ and I actually had to make a decision recently with one of our affiliate partners. It's a well-known outdoor brand company. And we had purchased some of their products, and we were using them in real world situations, and they were not cutting it. And then we tried to get it dealt with. The customer service wasn't cutting it. And we were like, you know what? I can't promote this. I can't write about it. I can't tell people in good faith you need to be out there buying this product, because we have it, we bought it, we used it, and it was not a good experience. And I think that genuine authenticity with people who are into what you're doing is a big deal. Exactly.
And I've learned that I never want to be a sellout for money. I just, it doesn't sit right being honest, being in the service. And I mean, out of the service, I just believe honesty and respect. Like, I should be able to tell you, if we're good friends, that your product sucks or your product is awesome. I should be able to tell you that, and you to be like, damn, what should we change?
Yep.
That should be okay, great. And then we're on board now, instead of taking like disrespect for it. It's like, dude, your product isn't the best, and help me make it the best. We need to bring each other up to become better, to produce a great product. I don't want to sell out and promote things just for money, for capita. No, like, I have shirts coming out soon, Veteran Van shirts.
Heck yeah.
All the proceeds, every single dime, is going to a veteran charity. I'm not going to get rich off of shirts. I don't care about making X amount of dollars off of a shirt or a sweater. I want you to have a good shirt that you can work in and do X, Y, and Z, or build your van and represent veteran vans and hopefully help the veteran community. And I can donate this to the Navy SEAL Foundation or to there's actually a lot, and I've donated to a few already. But to anything that is going to help our brothers and sisters that need the help, active duty, or even military vets that have gotten out. So things like that. Yeah, I can do the cool stuff and partner with people, but I'm not here for the fake stuff. I will not participate in it. I feel so cringy when someone is just like really superficial and not just stash money into my pocket.
I think that's good. I think that's something that right now, as this whole van building and van life movement is kind of in full swing, that's something that definitely sets people apart right now, because there are so many people who are in it for the money grab, because the dollars are there. Like, at the end of the day, I can have my opinion all day long about builders who are just out there grabbing money. It's not going to matter, because they're going to still have 12-month lead times, and they're still going to make 100K every build. And that's just how it is right now. So going into it with that right mindset and truly not trying to focus on just the money grab portion and doing a good, solid product, a good, solid outcome for the consumer, ultimately that's a really solid, direction to take your company.
Yep.
Yeah, I think treating people with dignity and respect, right? I think that's just something that might be ingrained in us who did serve, because we work along such a diverse, set of individuals. And I think one thing that I really, 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 truly dig about what you got going on is, we live in a capitalistic world where, yes, we want to make money. But you want to do it the right way, right? You're not selling out to a customer to try to make money. You're going to provide them honest feedback, and you're going to tell them, hey, this is what I've experienced. So maybe think about it, right, before you make that decision. And that's what I dig, man. I hate these companies that are out there that they're just trying to sell you an expensive ass product, because the reality is okay, cool, I'm going to sell you something from Illuminous because as a company, I'm going to get a little kickback for that. So of course I'm going to say I want you to spend $4,000 on a roof rack and a ladder system and a SUP board carrier and a side ladder. So no, man, I dig it, man.
Well, you know what? Cool. Like this whole business is booming right now, but there will come a time, and maybe it's 3 years, maybe it's 5 years, maybe it's 15 years. I don't know. But at some point, the popularity will slow down, and the businesses that will see through that slowdown are the ones who built meaningful, honest relationships with their customers. That's who will get repeat business when this slows down. The guys who are in it for the quick buck will not be heard from again when this popularity goes down.
Yep, which I've had this conversation before, and in theory, that is what we would want to believe of, where the battles of right and wrong or good and evil, they will come to equilibrium and they'll figure out. But with the age of social media and what we're seeing of the major winners nowadays,
true, yeah.
Some of them aren't, they're playing the game, and that's what it comes down to. So even like in the military, even if you're the hardest worker and the most honest person, you might not get the best eval. That's not how it's going to shake out. So I would love to believe that, but at the end of the day, all I have is how I portray myself, how I speak to customers, how I speak to the teammates here working for me, stuff like that. That's all I have. And at the end of the day, if in 10, 15 years it starts to get slow, I'm going to do what it takes, other than selling out, to make sure I have food on the table for myself, my teammates, and their families and their kids. So if that means we have to bust our asses working 14-hour days, or we have to spend more money on marketing, or we have to grow, or whatever it is, I'm going to make sure that we succeed as a team. And hopefully those companies that, they're owned by multimillionaires and they're not really invested in it, and no one in the company lives in a van. Now that doesn't sit right with me. Come talk to us about how our propane ran out in the middle of the night and we had to freeze our asses off. Come talk to me how my sink has overflowed multiple times and water has been everywhere, or how my roof has leaked, or
but you know what? You have such good insight to that customer who's asking you questions about a sink or about a heater, or you can give them such a well-rounded answer versus someone who knows, well, I've got a relationship with this company and I can get it for this price and sell it for this price. So that's the one you want. You're heading about it the right way, for sure.
Or the guy that says, oh yeah, this is going to be enough power for you to go and sustain yourself off grid for 5 days.
And he's never been off grid for 5 days.
He's never been off grid for 5 days, and he doesn't know, oh, you got 3 kids that all want to plug devices in, and you want to run a heater, and you want to run the fans. And, it's just like all this, because Mike and I, we go back and forth all the time, right? We are not very smart when it comes to the electrical aspect. I've had to do a lot of research online of what the fuck the difference is between amperage hours and, voltage and batteries in parallel versus batteries and batteries connected in series. You're like, what the fuck? Okay, cool. One increases my voltage, one increases my amperage. Well, I don't even know what the fuck that means. It's like, so I think you having that experience to be like, hey, no, listen, I live this life, and I'm telling you that I've got 150 amp hours of battery power that I use for my 2 fans and for these LED lights and whatever the case may be.
here's the real world usage.
Here's the
I get
real
out of
world,
these things.
and here's how I recharge it. I use this amount of solar, or I got a second alternator, that's charging all these devices as I'm driving or whatever. I did have one quick question, man. So I know you said you're going to start doing your builds this summer. So do you already have a designated space picked out for that?
So actually, I was speaking to my first van friend in San Diego. She runs Keenan Campers, and right now she does van rentals down in San Diego. And she has been, for the ride through thick and thin. So right now we have a business relation going on, and I'm looking at possibly purchasing a property. I'm not going to say where in SoCal. I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag yet, but I definitely am on the fence between purchasing a property and leasing a property. So definitely want to look at that. Definitely want to look at something around 4 to 5,000 square feet, at least for my side. If her and I were going to share a facility, probably 10,000 square feet, something like that. So definitely, it's not going to be a backyard build type stuff. Which I condone those. Go ahead and rock them out. But as a company, I can't have me and workers and stuff like that and tools. It's not happening on the side of a house anymore. We're moving on up to facility with, of course, proper tools, proper materials, stuff like that. Yeah, pretty much.
So you're going back to SoCal then?
Going back to SoCal.
Okay.
I love the large military community out there. The weather is great 24/7. You don't have to worry about snow coming down on you. In what was it? In 2020, we had a lot of rain in SoCal, but it's nothing like here. Just coming to work cold is not.
Bro, I'm with you, man. I fucking hate it, dude.
Yeah, it's not the best way to, like I've had a couple people, they're trying to do their builds and they don't have, they don't have a high bay garage, so which really none of us do in a regular home. So you have to build outside, but it's cold as shit outside. I remember being 20 years old, working on the flight line on F-18s, freezing my ass off and just being like, I hate this. I don't want to do this. So building your van should be fun. So going back to SoCal with warmer weather, the builders, they'll be able, if the shop is filled with vans, they'll be able to do whatever they need to do in the parking lot or something like that. Customers come out, they don't have to be bundled up, super cold. They can come out in flip flops, come take their van to the beach that day and go surf or go do whatever they want.
Yeah, that's cool.
Very cool. So, hey, man, we're going to wrap this up, but where can people find you if they want to reach out or have some questions answered or just kind of check you out?
Awesome. So the best way to reach me at this time is through Instagram. Either if there's a favorite post of yours, commenting on it to get some more information on that particular post of whatever I spoke on, or DMing me. Could DM me. We could do our consultation or even more if we need to. Currently have a site being built by also a veteran, so I try to outsource any of my services to vets that are doing exactly what I'm doing, starting a small business. You can also find me on YouTube. I have most of my longer videos and more in-depth videos on YouTube. So if you want a longer in-depth how-to of like how to put a floor in or how to put walls in or something like that, you can go to YouTube, see those longer videos. Instagram is the best way to contact me. And there's also veteranvans@gmail.com. Anyone who messages me or emails me, I will reply to you that day, 100% guaranteed.
Very cool. Yeah, I Googled Veterans Vans today, and the top result you get will be YouTube and Instagram. You'll get them both. So just think Veteran Vans, and you'll be able to find how to contact you.
All right.
All right, man. Hey, I really appreciate you taking the time. I know we're all in Colorado, all three of us, and our schedules are crap and we're all busy. So there's just no way to get it done in person. So thank you for taking the time. I hope this can put the word out a little bit and drive some interest your way. And again, thank you for taking the time and kind of sharing your story and your business with us.
Yeah, I really appreciate you guys having me on. And if you guys need anything in Colorado, you need something with your teardrop, you need something done, just give me a holler. I'll be here till most likely May, maybe April. So you got to use me while I'm here.
For sure,
Yeah.
man. Hey, I appreciate
Yeah.
it.